Well, holla if you hear
Him.
your boys. Welcome back to Headaches and Hot Takes. I'm your host, Shapirian. That over there, bright and smiley, PlayStation shirt, backwards Mountaineers hat. The way I hear it, they are still losing to both Penn State and Pittsburgh. Do they have any more Philadelphia or Pennsylvania teams or whatever on their schedule?
No way. Us losing? No way.
That's my co-host Herm, a.k.a.
Hi.
the world-famous handler for the world-famous hippopotamus, Moodang.
Moodang. Oh,
The
dude.
herniator. Did you say Houday?
No, I said Moodang, but I was like Moodang. And I was like, who's Moodang? And I was like, I now remember Moodang.
The world-famous baby hippopotamus that you're the handler for. What do you mean, who is it? You know who it is.
I got. Do you know how many things I'm the handler of, baby?
With the
I handle.
the Stromboli with the
A double chunk chocolate cookie.
Dude, that's awful.
I've been saying that anytime I eat any cookie. It could be
Yes.
like an Oreo.
I'm telling-
double chunk chocolate cookie.
Okay, I have two things I want to say about this now, not just one. I'm telling Kat, I'm like, for Black Friday, I really want to get a Costco membership. She's like, why? And then my mind thinks of the answer for why, and it puts it in the position to say it out of my mouth. It's like, because of those TikToks. And I'm like, I'm not saying that. But I'm like, oh, they just have some items I want to try, like the chicken bake and the double chunk chocolate cookie. It looks so good. They make you sound so good.
I do love the bring the boom, dude. Bring the boom. I love it.
I'm
sorry. I unironically love it.
Have you seen what Galaxy Gas is?
Okay, I know it's something people are like huffing, right? I don't know
It is
exactly
literally
what
flavored
it is.
Whippets.
Okay, nice.
Yeah.
Okay.
Killing brain cells on the spot. Okay.
Yeah, I saw a guy literally pass out immediately after he did it.
Someone did die from it already. Yeah.
Nice.
Someone did literally OD on it. So with that said, it is like a trend right now. It is very popular right now amongst hoodlums. And, I mean, it is. Let's just be honest with ourselves. It's popular amongst hoodlums. People are like, yeah, give me some more of this stuff that is not meant to be inhaled. Let me inhale it.
Stupid.
Okay. Like, that is one of those things that I'm like, that's a victimless decision for you. Like, I don't know.
I'm sorry. Like every TikTok challenge ever, another TikTok challenge killing people. I'm like, they're stupid.
Killing
they're
idiots.
Stupid. Yeah,
That's
it's
natural
survival of the
selection.
fittest. Yeah, it's doing us a favor.
Now, I guess there is a world where you wouldn't know. Like, when I started at Starbucks, we have literal whippets that you use to make whipped cream. That's what they're intended for, right? And there was a person that got fired before. I never met this person. I didn't work with this person ever. But there was a person that got fired from one of the stores I worked at for stealing them. Like, that is a thing.
Of course.
And I don't know. I will put it out there. I didn't even know that was a thing until I started at Starbucks. And they were like, oh, yeah, people try to steal them and huff them. I'm like, huh? They're like, whippets. And I'm like, huh? They're like, you poke this and you inhale it. And I'm like, huh? I'm like, you get high from it. And I'm like, huh? I'm like, I didn't know any of this. What is wrong with you people?
Right.
And so I guess there is a world where you didn't know that it's literally killing brain cells and getting you high. And so people are like, flavored gas. Try some. It brings the boom. Right? For those people, I feel bad. For everyone else, I don't feel bad at all. I saw a tweet today, and it had Big Justice with...
Big Justice.
It was the one where he's got a chicken bake in his hand in a Costco aisle, right? And someone photoshopped in Galaxy Gas and was like, Big Justice says Galaxy Gas brings the boom. I don't know. I just thought it was funny. So
I had to look it up.
You have Galaxy Gas? Are you looking it up right now?
No, I'm watching Double Chunk Chocolate Cookie. It's so stupid, dude.
Just he's a pro wrestler.
Really?
Not pro, but like he was a professional wrestler, getting paid to wrestle. Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Huh.
Doesn't shock me. Just a giant.
Dude,
So.
you just reminded me of a specific story I want to say about the thing I told you I wanted to talk about anyway. You just reminded me of a vein of that I wanted to.
Let's get
I
into
didn't
it, pal.
remember. I texted you this. I said I want to rant about something that has in the past 2 calendar years happened to me and my wife 4 times that I guarantee you has not happened to you more than once in your life, more than once in anybody's life that I've talked to.
Ballsy
At most
assumption
once.
with the person you're dealing with. We tend to share a lot of bad luck stories.
Right. That is the summary of this is like, my luck. Buddy, we have another one we are waiting to be replaced. This is going to be my 4th windshield replaced in 2 years. In 2 years. My 4th windshield. The first one was, I'm calling it a windshield, it was my back glass where I told the story that we think I was literally shot at, or a rogue bullet or whatever. It was at least a rock, if not a literal bullet. So random, makes no sense. The cop couldn't make sense of it. Whatever. My wife's old car, her windshield, we went to the store and I was grabbing something out of the car and I dropped it and it was like a plastic toy. It bounced off the dash, boom, it hit the windshield. A plastic toy that I dropped. It's like, cool. So there's, another $300-$400.
What kind of toy so that I don't ever buy one of these?
Oh god, it was just something random from Target for our daughter. I can't remember at this point. Then about 4 weeks ago, we're driving to Florida, and a rock hit my truck exactly. It was the exact right size and the exact right spot. It hit both my frame and my windshield. So now I have a frame dent, my paint's chipped, and my windshield cracked. Cool, thank you. I'll get the paint fixed whenever I can. It's my car. I don't really, whatever. Had to get the windshield fixed. Yesterday, my wife's driving home from work. She calls me. She says a big rock just hit my windshield and it's cracked.
Unbelievable.
Okay.
That was
Keep in
4
mind,
weeks after the last one.
Keep in mind, this is my wife's car that 5 days after we got it, we got into our first wreck ever. 5 days after getting a brand new car.
Unbelievable.
And once again, dude, with her, at the top, it hit the top. It hit exactly where it damaged her frame. She's got a huge dent, paint missing, and her windshield cracked. We had a guy come out because we didn't know. It was right at the length that we were like, maybe they can fill it instead of having to replace the whole windshield. So we had a guy come out. He's like, I have never seen one hit in this exact spot before.
What the heck happens with the rocks in Texas? Can we just ask that
I don't know, dude. I'm about to get like one of those, like, those bubbles you can put your car in, like in the garage. I'm about to be driving down the road with one of those.
I don't know what you're talking about, but it sounds hilarious. So.
There's like these inflatable, like a bubble you can put like your Ferrari in, and people like it protects them from stuff falling on them or whatever.
Okay.
But yeah, so yeah, I don't know what the chances are in your entire lifetime of a rock hitting your windshield in the exact spot that it hits your paint, chips your paint, dents your body, and breaks your windshield. But I've had that happen twice in the last month.
I mean, if you're in the universe of Mad Max, probably a pretty high chance. In the universe of Taylor Swift and Joe Biden and Donald Trump, probably not that high of a chance.
Right.
Very incredulous.
But what you just said that reminded me of a vein of the story. This guy came over and he's looking at the windshield. And this is one of those things where like the dude could be bullcrapping me the entire time. I'm not knowledgeable enough to know.
Does not suck.
He says his dad is a guitarist for some band that I didn't recognize. He said he just signed a 6-year deal with Disturbed. I said, Disturbed as in get down with the sickness? He said, yeah. I said, okay. He said, yeah, he just signed a 6-year deal. The 6-year deal. They're going on a world tour. I said, okay. He showed me a picture of his dad. I promise you, if you Googled like Slasher guitarist right now, it's probably what his dad looked like. It could have been literally Slasher from like the 80s.
You Slash?
So I'm like, oh, that's cool. It's Slash. Not Slasher, Slash.
The hash slinging Slash.
The hash ringing. The only way that I think he might be true, getting PG-13 for a moment, but watch out for it. He says that the reason his dad got signed in was that the current guitarist got caught with some stuff on his phone.
Yeah, that sounds about right. I think I heard that happened with one of those guys. Yeah.
He said, watch for the news to break. He said, that guy's going to be gone, and my dad signed a deal. I'm like, you could be completely, he could have showed me, he could have Googled Slash, and like, look at this guy. But it's too specific. And it was also one of those cases where, like you're checking out a customer at Kroger, and you're like, bro, I don't need to know your... Like, look at my windshield.
I was going to say, why is this guy telling you this?
Let's put the fries in the bag, bro. Just check the windshield, bro. Just check the windshield.
There's this one person who, like, it's specific enough to where I don't want to give a ton of details. But he's like, oh, my uncle is famous, and told me who his uncle was. And I was like, oh, yeah, I know them. Yeah. And he's like, oh, and I also do this side thing and under this name, and you see it. I'm like, okay, nothing bad. And again, I'm being vague on purpose, but I'm just like, can you just get this paper I need for me, please, so I can leave, please? So
I don't. Yeah, I'm not knocking. I would rather you do that than be a jerk. Obviously,
and if that's what makes them happy at work, I'm willing to deal with it.
Yeah, yeah. I'm sure we've all done it. We've all like rambled to somebody who's like, bro, I don't care. I do not care.
I am curious if I Google disturbed guitarist.
I did after he came by, which I think was literally yesterday evening, and I didn't find anything yet.
He does say that gout is worse than giving childbirth to twins, though. The disturbed guitarist does. So, good to know. Good to know.
It could be.
I hate to make an assumption here. It's a positive assumption, so I'll make it. He doesn't look like the type. You know what I'm saying? He doesn't look like the type.
Isn't that crazy? We had a guy in our high school class. We had a guy in our high school class get caught with what I'm talking about and went to jail. And I'm like, yep. If I had to pick anybody out of the 100,
Can you type their name into the chat again, by the way? Because I don't recall this person. But
oh God,
yes. Did you forget their name?
I could have if you. I could. No, I got it.
He's gonna be out. Not that long from now.
Yep,
it's halfway done.
Around 2 years.
If you didn't get stabbed or killed, because they'll stab you and kill you for that.
Yep.
So, good. Good.
I'm glad you got that.
Michael Che.
Michael Che.
Good.
A YouTuber was shot for pranking people in a mall. Good.
We should just cut back in, starting with that clip right there. Like, cut out whatever point you do, and just right in with that. YouTuber shot.
Yeah, I'll cut with the send in the chat his name, and I'm gonna send that, and I'm gonna be like, shot for pranks in a mall. Good.
Good. But no, I was at Chick-fil-A like 2 days ago, okay? And I saw this guy walking in. And I hate to be honest, because to a degree it is profiling. But is it an acceptable amount of profiling? Where I'm pulling into the parking lot, I'm like, this guy looks like bad vibes.
Oh, yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Uh-huh.
Okay. Sure. He is probably 50 feet from the door, and by the time I park, he's like pretty far from me too. But I drove by him to get to my parking space. I'm like, this guy, bad vibes, okay?
Stay away.
As I'm getting out and getting into the car, what does this person do? Stops a single lady walking out of the door, and they're having a conversation that as I walk in, I can tell she's like backing away towards her car. And even Kat, my wife, was like, I felt like I needed to save her by the look on her face. And I kept an eye to make sure like she didn't get followed or anything. There's a look, dude. There's a type where you're just like, bad vibes. Something's not right here. Yeah. And sure enough, I thought that, said that out loud, and then he stops the single lady walking out of the door to the Chick-fil-A. I'm like, okay. Yeah, checks out.
In my guy daydreaming like of every scenario thing, so I'm sure you've done this too. Like, I've seen those scenarios, and I'm like, in that moment, I want to be like, oh, Angelica, hey, like, what's up? Like, act like you know them to try to get them out. But I'm like, I know the one time I do that, the woman's gonna be like, what? Like, they're not gonna 100%,
100%, right?
So then I'm gonna look like an idiot. Yeah,
turns out they actually
I would
do know the person. They're just awkward socially.
That's exactly what I was gonna say. Like, Angelica, they'd be like, and like it's like her ex-boyfriend. He's like, who's this fool? Like,
yeah. I don't know, and it's obviously a bold assumption we're making, and I'm not saying that they do anything illegal. I'm just saying bad vibes. That's all I'm saying. Bad vibes.
Jail.
So, but vibes are dangerous. Vibes can be wrong. With that said, do you have anything further to say on the subject of the lead guitarist for Disturbed? Who like I said, I don't peg him as the type. Could be a backup guitarist. There are backup guitarists.
Yeah. He didn't explicitly say like this guy for Disturbed. He said like one of the guitarists is how I think he worded it. So
that has been a thing with like heavy metal bands lately, though. Is like a couple of them have come out with like weird stances on that, or been found with weird things. So that's why you mentioned Disturbed. I was like, I think I might have heard about that.
Not the people who did drugs daily for years.
Not the people who ate acid for dinner.
Yeah. No way.
For legal purposes, that was a joke. Anyways.
The face.
Do you want to move into tights, main subject?
What is the meat and potatoes, buddy? Because I ain't doing it. You ain't hitting it with me. You ain't hitting me with it again. This is your brainchild.
I think I should say something funny, and you should say it louder and get credit. is what we should do.
Exactly what happened. Yeah.
We're going to talk about an idea that I had. Stole it from a podcast literally like 4 years ago. I stole this idea. We're going to talk about our 5 most influential television shows. Not our favorite.
Influential.
Not our rankings of the best. Our 5 personal most influential TV shows. Do you care to elaborate yourself on what you think influential means as opposed to favorite or best? Now that you've compiled a list of your own.
Sure. Yeah. So I wanted to clarify. That's why I asked. Like, when you say influential, you mean blankety blank? So for me, maybe I'll go ahead and just tell you one of mine, and this will be my example. For me,
honorable mentions.
I don't know if my honorable mention is a great example.
We'll just throw the whole plan away, Herb.
Yeah.
Go right ahead.
I'll just tell you one of mine that is the one I told you. I was like, is this what you mean? Like how I say this? So for me, Courage the Cowardly Dog, baby. I watched it growing up. It terrified me as a kid, but I liked it. And I fully blame Courage the Cowardly Dog and me watching it whenever I was 10 years old for why I love horror stuff now. I've said that for years. I fully blame it. But it's not a bad thing. I thank it for getting me into it because I love horror stuff. So to me, that is a very influential show. I would never say Courage is one of the best shows, but
Yeah.
it was very influential into my adult persona.
Do these shows, I can look at my list and say I still have a very soft spot for every show on here. Is that
Sure.
true for you too?
Most definitely. Yep.
Yeah. And if you do something where it's like, the idea I got this from, I'll name drop. I don't normally name drop people in this situation, but I actually got this from Rhett and Link of Good Mythical Morning on their podcast. They each ranked their 10 most influential TV shows. Kat and I listened to that episode in 2020.
That'd be hard.
They had a lot that were in conjunction with each other. So, like,
Okay.
if I'm reading number 8 and it was your number 3, he would be like, that was my number 3. And then they would both talk about it. But then by the end, it was very strange.
Right.
So, it got to where their number 1 was Seinfeld, by the way, for both of them, which I just don't get. I'm sorry. Like, it adds up. Kind of fits their sense of humor. It's never ranged true for me, personally.
They're
But
funnier than Seinfeld.
I've then have extrapolated that idea of most influential to a lot of things. Most influential video games, most influential bands. I'm not going to look at you in the face and say that maybe 1 or 2 of them are even my 5 favorite TV shows to this day.
Right.
But in terms of my entire life and my upbringing and my adulthood now, these are the shows that have been the most influential either at periods or, technically speaking, still to this day in my life.
Yep.
So, you went first with Courage the Cowardly Dog. That is on your list, correct?
Yes, sir.
I have 2 honorable mentions. Do you have 1?
I can throw out 2.
Okay.
I can give 2.
I'm going to go ahead and give my 2. You can give yours, and then I'll start my list. That way, go back and forth. Sound good?
Nice little ping pong action. I like it.
They're not ranked, by the way, for what it's worth.
No, these are not ranked.
I did not rank my list, with the exception of the fact that my honorable mentions didn't crack the top 5. So,
Right.
my first honorable mention is one that I'm going to have a take about coming out soon for specifically you and Mr. Treads, by the way, because it didn't make a certain list that I think it should have. I've been spoiled as to some things. My honorable mention, number 1, for my most influential TV shows is Power Rangers. I loved Power Rangers, dude. I loved it for a long time, too, is the thing. There's arguments where it's like, I got like sort of re-into it in high school, which is really embarrassing to say out loud. But it is reality. I did.
I don't think it's ever embarrassing.
It is really, really childish. Like, there's stuff like, you know,
the
like
acting
SpongeBob,
is pretty
for
bad.
example.
And
The acting is terrible. It's low
So
budget.
yeah.
The action scenes are really bad. They'll swipe a sword and the sparks will fly, and the person will do a 1080 corkscrew to fall to the ground, and it's like, this is the worst.
Yeah.
But I got back into it at a point in my life where I was beginning to get nostalgic for my childhood. I think I was depressed. And I was like, I like the things that make me happy, right? This used to make me happy, so I leaned into those sorts of things. That was the first ever nostalgic period of my life, so I bought a bunch of old Power Rangers DVDs, sort of watched the season that was out at the time, But as a kid, you couldn't tell me nothing without talking about Power Rangers and another show that will be on this list later that did make the top 5. But I love Power Rangers. I could probably sing word for word every Power Rangers theme song from Mighty Morphin up until like a season you've definitely never heard of, through like Dino Charge or something like that,
right?
Which I bet you don't know. So
yeah, I couldn't tell you all the things off the top of my head, but yeah, I got nothing bad to say about Power Rangers. So
yeah. Now, did you watch much of it or no?
I did.
Do you remember what?
I definitely didn't watch. I didn't watch as much as you did. Well, first off, that's probably true. I didn't watch as much as you did. I definitely don't remember as much as you apparently did about like, oh, they had this season and then this and then this. These 4 were here and then these characters, because they would switch up like the colors and stuff.
That's a sign of OCD. So it's like I definitely had OCD symptoms as a kid. Like there's certain things on this list that I'm gonna say. Like there's one in particular that I swear on my life, my mom has regurgitated this fact about me to me for my entire life. So I guess it's true. It just sounds unbelievable, right? But one of the other things that she has said is you as a kid used to organize your blocks by shape and color. And I'd never seen another kid that would do that young. And I'm like, why did you not have me tested? So
honestly, yeah.
Yeah. Do you remember what season you used to watch or no?
I'm trying to see now. I Googled like seasons and when they came out.
Here's the best guesses for you. Mighty Morphin is one that you probably would have seen if you saw any. Is that one that you recognize?
I definitely recognize Mighty Morphin.
Wild Force? By your age, Wild Force was a contender. Did you see Wild Force?
I see Wild Force. I don't recognize it.
Ninja Storm?
I think Ninja Storm for sure.
Dino Thunder?
I might have seen Dino Thunder.
That's my favorite season.
I definitely recognize Ninja Storm. I definitely recognize that.
Go Power Rangers, go Ninja Storm, let's go. It rocked. It was cool.
I don't remember SPD.
SPD was after Dino Thunder. I did not like it. So
yeah, some of these I definitely do not remember. Samurai?
Real story.
I don't remember Samurai.
Dino Thunder aired its last episode, and they came on at like 8 a.m. on a Saturday. Okay, it aired its last episode, and I didn't know it was the last episode. But they, at the end, like, turned their, like, morphers in or something like that. Or they couldn't use them anymore per the story. And it's like, wow, that's it. And for me, I'm like, oh, no, right? At the end, they're like, starting next week, Power Rangers, SPD. I sprint to my parents' room and wake my parents up on a Saturday morning to be like, guys! Oh, my God, Power Rangers, SPD, new Power Rangers next week, brand new Power Rangers. I'll never forget.
They hated it. They hated it.
To me, was like, you woke me up to tell me that? I wonder if they even remember that, but I remember that vividly.
Am I tripping for saying I remember a Power Rangers movie coming out like in our childhood, but apparently not?
Wouldn't have been in our childhood, but you might have watched the movie because it was... I mean, did you just have like VHS tapes like around?
Oh, yeah.
So you probably had the VHS tape of the movie. I had the Power Rangers movie VHS tape. It was in theaters. It was a real movie. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
in
Yvonne
1995
was
when that one came out.
The antagonist.
Yeah. All I have to say, I got nothing bad thing. I got nothing bad to say. So you want to go into your next?
Yes.
Honorable?
My next one is Bob's Burgers. I'm sad this one didn't make the list. There's only 5. There's not 6. And I couldn't justify putting it over there based off the influence it's had in my life. But it is my favorite adult animated show, even over Rick and Morty, which comes in second place. I love Bob's Burgers. The humor is great. My wife and I have binged it all. We're actually catching up on the newest season very soon, actually. So we technically aren't caught up. But we love it. We think it's great. I guess I'll put this out there. It doesn't hurt to put this out there. I have pitched the idea to Kat of naming one of our eventual daughters Louise because I love that character that much. I'm like, I love Louise Belcher. She is great. I would kill to have a kid like her. She's awesome. She rocks, dude.
She's the best one.
She's the best.
I like Gene, too. Gene's just, like, funny. He's so stupid. He's so stupid, dude.
He just has the dumbest stuff.
I love the clip where, like, they do, like, the promo, and he can't remember the name Bob's Burgers.
Literally can't remember.
And he's like, you live above the restaurant. He's like, I think of you as dad. I think of it as dad's burgers. It's so stupid.
Oh, my God, you live above the restaurant.
That's pretty good.
It's not bad, right? I can get there sometimes. Yeah. Gene.
Oh, my God.
Oh, my God. That's the one. That's the one that I love so
Oh my
much.
God.
Oh my god. H. John Benjamin, greatest voice in television acting today. Arby's. We have the
Arby's.
meats. That's him, I believe. I never saw that TikTok, by the way.
I need to,
Turn my mic off on accident.
I need to
never saw
find it.
that.
I need to find it, see if it still exists.
I won't say a ton other than saying that if you like Family Guy and American Dad, but you think Bob's Burgers isn't up to par with them, you're wrong. It's as good, if not better.
Agreed.
I think it's better, obviously, but it's great. It's so good.
I started to get into it after you recommended it, and I agree with our friend Treads in that TV shows are just so hard for me to get into because of like, okay, I have to sit down. I mean, obviously at this point it's a lot because it's been on for a while. But sincerely, if you sat down and was like, right now I'm gonna binge Bob's Burgers, it'd take you what, a month? It would take you 3 months. It would take you a while.
Kat and I so I had seen it and she hadn't when we started dating. It took us like 7.5, 8 weeks maybe to catch up to it at that time.
And that's
Years
probably
ago?
like all you
6
watched.
years
You didn't
ago?
watch anything
yes,
else.
it was all we were watching. Yeah.
So like, yeah. So like with that being said, I started it and I haven't like kept up with it. That's not out of choice. I do sincerely think it's probably the best pilot I've ever seen.
It's so
I think
good.
the pilot episode is
How many
literally
toothpicks are on
laugh
the
out loud
ground?
funny. I don't. It just involves me picking up toothpicks.
I hate this game. It just involves me picking up toothpicks. 100. Oh, and Bob turns
There's
up
3.
It's 3. You're the worst kind of autistic.
The writing's
He
great.
drops
Why do I
one
have to-
more. He drops one more and said, "Now how many are there?" She goes, 3.
I love Gene going, why do I have to get molested?
Is that the pilot? He would have said that in the pilot.
That's in the
doesn't he?
pilot.
Why do
It's
I
in the
have to get
pilot.
molested?
They think that customer's a child molester, so they're trying to decide who's going to take his order.
Yeah, and they're like, Gene. It's so
Why do I have to get molested? It's great, dude.
Yeah. Top notch, right? Do you know it's supposed to be about cannibalism, by the way? They're supposed to sell human burgers. I don't know
Yeah,
how
I
that would
remember
have
you
gone.
saying that.
What would that have been like? What?
I don't
Why?
know. Very weird initial concept, I think.
And they play on it like the second or third episode. So,
Yeah, with the mortuary being like right next door, right?
yeah, and they act like, oh my god, they are selling dead people burgers,
Right.
and they're not. Those are mine. I talked for too long about them. I apologize. Let's go into yours. You said you have 2. I'm curious to hear them.
My first one is the only reason it's not on this list solely, like solidly in this list, is because of how recently I watched it and when I watched it. Avatar: The Last Airbender. I literally hate myself for not watching it growing up.
So close
We
to making
watched
mine,
it-
dude.
We watched it a year ago, and as a 27-year-old, I was like, this is one of the best shows I've ever watched. And I will say that. I think it's one of the best shows I have ever watched.
It's still probably top 5 for me.
It's
gotta be
fantastic.
up there.
I'm very. Netflix just teased season 2. They teased Toph. I don't know if you saw that.
Toph
Dude, it looks so
rocks.
It looks so good.
I need to rewatch it, dude. It's been too long.
I'm so excited. I'm so excited. My wife was in the camp of like she remembers staying up and like
Yep.
watching the marathon
It was
before the
late.
finale.
It was
Apparently,
it came on
yeah.
at like 9 p.m. I think.
It's like
Which is,
it's like an
late for a
hour-long
kid show.
finale, I think.
Yes.
So-
I'll never forget watching that finale, dude. Oh, he
I
takes
wish
my
I was there,
brother's
dude.
powers.
I'm so jealous that I
My
wasn't
whole
there.
family
I
watched it.
wish.
My entire family, me, older
It's
brother,
great.
younger sister, and my parents watched that show.
It's fantastic. It is absolutely fantastic. So
Unbelievable.
Avatar is my first honorable mention. Like I said, the only reason it's not on here is because of how recently I watched it. I'm not going to say like because of my personal legacy with it, but it deserves to be there.
It rocks. The only reason that the OCD kills me in this regard. I just had an epiphany with this like a week or 2 ago where I'm like, man, I would really love something and I'll love it 100% of the way, and then one thing will change and now I only love it 99% of the way, and I'll be like, get out of my face. Right? And I have not wanted to go back and rewatch Avatar because I hated The Legend of Korra that much, which is a strong reaction. I understand. I get
Did
that's
you
a strong
finish
reaction.
The Legend of Korra? Did you finish it?
No, I stopped like almost all the way through season 2. I just found Korra completely unredeemable, which I Googled to see if that was unfair. And there are people, as of like a year ago in a Reddit thread, entirely agreeing with me. Like, she sucks. She should not have been the protag. If she was going to be that protag, she shouldn't have been Aang Katara's daughter. Because she doesn't fit. I don't want to act like I know everything. I don't. I haven't seen the whole show. There's only 3 seasons though, right?
I think 3.
I got most of the way through season 2. I got to those like 3 or 4 episodes left in season 2 before I decided I'm done with this show.
I am surprised you quit then because I thought Zahir was a very cool villain. I did like Zahir.
Yeah, okay, that's fair. The villains in the show weren't even bad, actually. It's just I
did
find her
like that.
so unredeemable that it's not worth it. It's her
I did
show.
like that.
The legend. Her legend. She sucks. I don't like her.
I did like that in The Legend of Korra, every season is a new villain, rather than in the original Avatar, it's all
different
around
concept.
the Fire Nation.
That'd be like,
like
for
that.
me being
I like
like, this is going to be like quite the yoga stretch of a metaphor here. I completely understand. It's like the legend of Ted Bundy. Ted Bundy sucks. I don't like Ted Bundy. I don't want to watch a show about Ted Bundy. I'm good. But there are sickos out there that obviously hate Ted Bundy, but will still watch a Ted Bundy show. I hate Korra.
Yeah.
She sucks.
I don't like Korra
I never
either.
finished it. I'm not going to finish it. I'm not going to.
I didn't like
Sorry.
Korra as a character. I mean, the show was fine. Yeah, that's pretty much all I gotta say
If
about
the
that.
number one in the show stinks, I'm not watching the show. That's all.
That's fair.
ATLA. Probably still my favorite animated TV show of all time. It probably still is.
I think
Yeah.
I think it would be mine had I watched, especially had I watched it as a kid. As an adult, I love it, so I can't imagine the
There you go.
nostalgia for it. Right. My second honorable mention barely got beat out by another adult comedy. It is Rick and Morty. I have not
Rick and Morty.
rewatched
Rick and Morty.
Rick
Rick and Morty. Rick and Morty.
I have not rewatched episodes, not like the whole show, but I have rewatched my favorite episodes of Rick and Morty so many
bingeable.
times. They're
So
so rewatchable because it's so fast. It is so fast paced that I promise you, you can watch the same episode.
Punch.
Really.
With jokes.
You could sit down and watch an episode 3 straight times, and the third time you'll still catch stuff you didn't catch the second
Every time.
It is so good for that. And I think, and yeah, it's like every show ever where some episodes are really stinky and I skip them and I probably will never watch them again. But there are some episodes that I think are so fantastic.
Yep.
I love Rick and Morty. I think it's
What
so
are your
creative,
favorites that you go back to? For me, it's Mr. Meeseeks. And
Jimmy Seeks.
I'm trying to remember my other one. I actually don't remember my other. That's my favorite. Maybe if you
Vat
say
of
I
Acid
remember it.
is fantastic.
Is that the Toxic Rick?
No, that's the one where like.
Oh,
Rick
Vat of
makes
Acid, where they hide in the Vat of Acid.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay. Yes. That's
That's-
such a good episode.
I think if you Google it, that's regarded as like one of their best episodes.
It's such a great concept for an episode. It's not even funny.
It's so good. Honestly, one from the new season where they find Rick Prime. If you know anything about Rick and Morty, it was a fantastic episode. I thought it was really good.
I'm gonna have to get through it and catch back up. I'm gonna have to.
The
It's
newest season was pretty
tough.
good.
They got the weirdo out of there, so like they got the weird guy gone. The weird guy that wrote weird things.
If you
So-
specifically that episode where they find Rick Prime, that's one of the best episodes in a while, I think.
Okay.
So I would recommend that. But yeah, I think it's great. I think you should. I think if you haven't tried Rick and Morty, give it a shot because it's so
hilarious.
fast paced. It's so nice.
And if you're an adult and you're kind of where I'm at on it, and you're gonna hear this, and if you don't know me personally, you don't know Hearn personally, you're gonna hear this and make generalizations about us that aren't true. Okay, so don't. They're not true. Okay. But if you're tired of this world where you can't put anything out there, like if you put The Office on TV today and ran every single episode with every single joke, it would have got canceled. For pushing the edge, you can't say that. Not cool, not fair. No, it's funny, dude. It's funny. Rick and Morty does not care. They will say whatever they want, and it is hilarious. So
Yeah.
that's why I
Rick-
think you should give it a shot.
Rick Sanchez is probably in my top 3 sincerely favorite TV characters ever. I love Rick Sanchez.
You'll never
He's
get to
fantastic.
play as him in Fortnite unless you already got him from his battle pass when the season came out, sir.
Fun fact.
That kills
With that
me.
being said, there's my honorable mentions, and we already said that these are not ranked. Otherwise,
Not ranked.
It's just now we have 5 that we thought are the most
Yes.
influential. I've already given Courage, so do you want to go with your first?
I've
pick?
got 2 that I
Whatever
feel like might be on yours. I'm going to save them for last. Okay? I
Okay.
think it's pretty
Okay.
safe to say these 2
That's
are the only
interesting.
2 on my list that might be on yours. And that being said, you know
Wow.
about the other 3. I told you the other 3 and told you why they made my list. So I'll go through
Right.
those first, save the other 2
Okay.
for last, and if it's on your list, we can talk about them in conjunction, okay?
I can't imagine that any of my last 4 are also on your list, but that is. I'm
If so,
curious to
that's
see how
crazy,
you enjoy it.
because if
Right.
there's 2 on here where I'm like, one of these 2 has to be on your list. Maybe not, though.
Watch it not be.
All right. The first one I'm going to talk about, just because it's at the top of my list, is a weird one. You're going to be like, that's a show? Yes, it's a show, people. Yes, Sports Center. Da-na-na, na-na-na.
Da-na-na.
Dude, my mom, this is the story I was referring to, swears I was 3 years old My dad wouldn't be home, but when he would have Sports Center on all the time, right? So I think he worked day shift. He worked like when I was awake, and he would not be home a lot of the time, right? My mom was a stay-at-home mom. So she said I would ask frequently to turn on Sports Center at 3 years old. What a sicko thing to do, bro.
Sports Center.
What'd you say?
Sports Center, please. Sports Center, please.
Sports Center? Wait, Sports Center? I can kind of get it. Like, my nephew's 2, and he asks for Little Bear. I can understand being that old and asking for a show.
That's a great pick.
If I like it that much, I guess. If you know me, and you know anything about me, this checks out. I have loved sports my entire life. My dream growing up was to be either a football analyst or a Sports Center anchor. That was my dream for years, was to be a sports. I went to college with that dream in mind still.
That tracks. Yeah.
Gave up on it. Halfway re-pursuing it now, technically speaking, right? Not really.
You're
But
doing
it's
it
like-
in the capacity that you can. I think it's great what you're
To
doing.
the capacity I can. I appreciate
Yeah.
it. It's dream chasing, right? Sports Center is why I had that dream. In all seriousness, it really is. Being a
Cool.
Sports Center anchor was my dream for years. I adored it. I loved all the anchors. Shout out Neil Everett and Stan Verrett. You two were my faves. They don't do their show anymore. They were the Sports Center LA group. I'll tell one more story and move on. Other than the fact that, sports, it adds up.
Sports.
I didn't have cable for basically the entire time from like 2018 until like 2021 or 2. It's not that long of a time, right?
Mm-hmm.
If I ever got to go to a hotel during that time, I was pumped to be like, sorry, we're turning on Sports Center. Don't care.
What channel? Sports Center.
Turning on ESPN and watching Sports Center so I can catch Sports Center top 10 and watch them run through their highlights. We don't get highlights anymore. It's all, this guy sucks. This guy stinks. I hate this guy. Mahomes better. Mahomes better. Mahomes better. Am I wrong? That's all sports talk is these days. I'm like, dude,
Yeah.
how about just run through the game? I don't know. Like, do you even like sports? That's why I like one of the shows that you hate, Good Morning Football. They all like football, and they talk like they like football. And they talk about it nicely. That's why I'm like, this show's great. So, that's all. I would seek out Sports Center if I ever stayed in a hotel. I'll let you take the next one. Of course, I'm done with mine for now.
All right, I'm gonna go with you said courage. I already said courage. You said Sports Center. I'm gonna throw out one that's by far the oldest on my list, pal, but it is so true.
Okay.
Give me, and I guess this was technically a show. I will admit that I only watched this on VHS tapes.
Okay. Please say it.
Give me the Three Stooges.
No way.
Dude,
What a good pull.
We would go down to my grandparents' house, and they had Little Rascals and Three Stooges on VHS. And every time we went down there to stay the night, we'd make popcorn, sit in the living room, and watch one of those two things. And that's just like a core memory for me, first off. So whatever it was at the time, I was going to love, because it's such a core memory.
Mm-hmm.
I'm begging you, if you don't remember as an adult, go back and watch some of the Three Stooges stuff. It is hilarious. I think it is genuinely hilarious. I think TV back then was so funny. It was so pure. I think the comedy was great. I Love Lucy's another great example. It's fantastic.
I Love Lucy. That would be on my wife's top
Fantastic.
5 if she were to do hers.
I don't know exactly how different those two are as far as the time goes, but you know what I mean. They're both old.
They have
Because
to
I know
be the
I Love
same.
Lucy. I know I Love Lucy was originally in black and white, right? So,
Yes. Three
that's
Stooges was too, right?
Right.
Yeah.
That's why I was like, I think I'd be like around the same.
What about Rascals? Was that Pee Wee Herman?
On Three Stooges?
Not Pee Wee Herman. Alfalfa is what I mean. Little Rascals.
No, that's
Alfalfa.
Little Rascals.
That's what I'm
Little
going to
Rascals
say.
is
I
that
said is Little Rascals is that Pee Wee Herman. I don't know why, but Alfalfa and Pee Wee Herman both, like, I get them
Don't they
confused all the
kinda-
time for no reason.
Don't they? That's weird.
I'm just saying. I kind of confuse the two all the time.
I've never thought of that, but
Yeah. I have confused
Yeah.
the two for the longest time. Alfalfa,
can
that's
see that.
Little Rascals, right? Okay.
Pee Wee Herman is a grown-up alfalfa. Yeah.
Yep. So, yes.
So,
Okay,
yeah,
so I've seen
Three
some of
Stooges.
both.
Three Stooges. The comedy is hilarious. I sincerely think I got half of my sense of humor, some of my personality from watching those things. I think it's fantastic. I love Three Stooges so much.
Heck yeah. Not enough people our age have seen it because we're afraid of things that are older. Like, I don't know. We hate old things unless it's vintage
Yeah.
clothing that we can sell on Depop for 10 times what we paid for it. So,
Very
No, I'm right.
specific. Thanks. Gee, thanks.
Gee, thanks.
What's your
Is
next
that all
one?
you have?
Ping pong.
Well, my next one?
That's all I got then. I love it. What's your next
I'm
one?
going to go way back to the way back to when I was just a little baby.
A wee lad.
I was going to say little tot. Close enough.
Wee.
My favorite kids show from ages unknown, as in like could have been like 6 months. I guarantee I was watching this at 6 months and just not knowing it, right? Mm-hmm. Through probably right before kindergarten, maybe even a little after, was Blue's Clues. They don't make them like they used to, dude.
Oh, Steve, dude.
So long. But let's sing just one more song. I love Blue's Clues, okay? I love
Steve
it.
the Goat.
I turned it on in my dorm room in college one time because I was flipping through the channels at like 4:30 in the morning. Nothing was on. Oh, I don't want to watch any of this. Blue's Clues.
Was it Steve's Blue Clues or was it
Yes.
Joe's Blue's Clues?
Steve's. And Joe catches a lot of flack. My guy Joe catches a lot of flack. It's
He was
not
fine.
his fault. Steve wanted to move on from other stuff, and I like Joe just fine.
Joe's fine. Yeah.
Steve's my guy. Steve's my number one. Mm-hmm. I cried the biggest grown man cry probably of my adult life at that video he put out during COVID. Broke my heart.
Yes. Oh
Broke my
God.
heart. Because I did feel abandoned by you, Steve. At least a little bit. Why'd you leave us? I'm just kidding.
Why'd you leave us?
But the way he talked about got me messed up, dude. Love that show. I own a stuffed Blue that I hadn't seen in like a couple years. My wife literally just found it like 2 days ago, ironically. And we moved with it and everything. We moved houses and stuff. Like I just hadn't used it in a long time.
Right.
And I was like, oh, I love that. I bought it like as an adult. I saw it because they made the new Blue's Clues show, and like Blue's the same. It was just this size or so, like stuffed blue, and it was super soft. I was like, I'm buying this, 100%. I love Blue's Clues. So my parents potty trained me by offering me Blue's Clues stickers every time I went number 2 on the toilet instead of, I guess, anywhere else that a kid would do it. And they said that I was trained immediately after they showed me the stickers. And they said I was sitting on the toilet grunting, like, trying to get stuff out so that I could have more Blue's Clues stickers.
A 2-year-old with a hemorrhoid because you wanted
obsessed, dude. What'd you say?
A 2-year-old with a hemorrhoid because you wanted a Blue's Clues sticker so fast.
Yeah, every time you do it, you get a Blue's Clues sticker.
You just lived on the toilet.
They said, all right, he's potty trained. That's the way
That's
my
awesome.
dad tells
I mean,
the story.
hey,
all right, he's
it
potty
works.
trained.
It works.
So
that's great.
shout out Blue's Clues. Big ups. The new one is good too, by the way. The guy that Josh, I think is his name. He's
Josh,
good.
Yeah.
He's good.
Yeah. I have not watched a second of the new one. I knew his name was Josh, but like I haven't watched a second of it. My brother was much more into Blue's Clues than I was. My brother, and he'll attest to this if he won't deny it, which he can. Every single time we went into Walmart, he got one of the Blue's Clues notebooks, only to get it, go home and go just scribble on like every page. Not like actually draw nothing.
Okay.
He just scribble on it, and then he needed a new one. So the next time we're in Walmart, if that was his, you're talking about potty train. That was his like behave in the store, and you get a Blue's Clues notebook.
I only had one real notebook, but I got like a kid's like Nick Jr. magazine that every month came with a like foldable paper notebook, and I remember vividly. I vividly remember this. I'm so glad you mentioned this. When they changed it from Steve to Joe, he changed the handy dandy notebook, if you didn't know. He changed it. There was a different handy dandy notebook. Instead of just like a square that was green with the thinking chair on it.
It was like the house, wasn't it? Or whatever it was.
Just the outline of the thinking chair when it was like black.
Yes.
It was just the outline instead of like a square notebook at that point. And when they changed it, the magazine changed it too. I remember that.
Oh.
So I had one real notebook. I didn't have a bunch of real ones. But once it was used, resorted to the monthly Nick Jr. ones. So
That's great.
heck yeah.
I think it's a great pool.
Love it.
I think it's fantastic.
One of my faves to this day. My kids will be raised on it 100%.
It's fine. I think that's absolutely true. That being said, I'll follow that up with one of my favorite childhood shows that now we're watching with my daughter. Yeah, there's no way. I don't think there's any chance. So I'm gonna say it.
It's not on mine, but please say it.
Give me VeggieTales.
Yes, that's the one. That's the one. I mouthed it earlier.
Hey.
I don't know if you saw. I was like, I wanted to talk about it.
VeggieTales, baby. We by far
good.
one of my favorite TV shows growing up. I absolutely loved it. The Silly Songs with Larry
It's time
are
for
hilarious.
Silly Songs with Larry. It's part of the show.
comes out and sings a silly song.
Silly song.
Dude, I've said it for years, and I'm begging you, if you don't remember the VeggieTales songs, go back. You can just do the silly songs with Larry if you want.
Yeah.
Whoever was writing the VeggieTales songs was a genius. They are great songs. They're lyrically great. They're lyrically funny. The beats in them, I don't know if you remember this or not. I tweeted it like 2 years ago at this point. It was like a thread.
I've seen like all of your VeggieTales ones. Yeah.
It was a thread of like things that I said, like people that it was rappers that I said Eminem was too afraid to diss, and the salesmen's from that one episode.
It's spelled funny. How is
that?
It spelled? Like MUNZ?
MUNZ, the salesmen's.
Yeah.
Yeah. Dude, I promise you I will put the first like 5 seconds of that in this episode right now. The first 5 seconds of that song, dope. The whole song's amazing, but it's so good. Obviously, every episode teaches such a great message, which I like. They're very like, I'm not saying they're quite as like Little Bear or Oswald, where like there's like it's
different
so
animations. That plays a lot into that.
But they're definitely not like over the top like a lot of animation really is now for kids. It's not. I would put it in the camp of Little Bear, Oswald, of like low stimulation. And we're watching them a lot now. Literally yesterday we were watching the Jonah one with my daughter, and it's fantastic, dude. I love VeggieTales so much.
I don't know how it never made its way into my radar. I remember watching it 2 or 3 times in church, and that's it. Like, I did not watch it as a kid. But my wife, preacher's daughter, raised on it. And she is so heavily influenced. I bet it would crack her top 5 too. And she showed me some of the funny songs, and there's one in particular that I had memorized and now I don't. But it was the, like, free on the rock at the bottom of the sea. I had that whole song memorized because I thought it was such a funny little song. I was like, this is the coolest song.
Dude.
So
I will tell you personally now, and I've said this for years, it's on my Twitter, his cheeseburger, it's called. It's not Larry.
It's slow, right?
It's Mr. Luntz. It's like a love song, about a cheeseburger.
Yeah.
Dude, I'm telling you, listen to the last 60 seconds of his cheeseburger. I'm not exaggerating, one of my favorite songs of all time. It is in my Spotify like songs. I love it. It's fantastic. It's great.
Heck yeah. Great pull. So kid show to kid show. Easily my number one. Easily your number one, it sounds like. Yep. That show raised me. That show raised you?
Yep.
Yeah. Well, there comes a point in every kid's life where you're like, I'm too cool for this baby crap.
Yep.
I'm too old for this baby crap. I'm way too rad and dressed like an awesome kid. I don't watch
I wear
baby
Abercrombie
crap
and
anymore.
Fitch.
Which, by the way, I said I watched Blue's Clues through kindergarten. If that's true, then I was definitely watching it in conjunction with this next one. Because I remember when this next one started coming out. And I remember, it's crazy. I remember certain parts of season 1, like, watching them on Saturday morning when they were coming out.
I'm excited for what this is. Okay.
Power Rangers was one of my honorable mentions. That was my cool kids show. Alongside Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. No. Turtles counted off. 1, 2, 3, 4. I won't sing the rest. But I loved that show. To this day, will swear it's the best rendition of the Ninja Turtles in terms of series. The 80s is great. I love the 80s show. 2012, which I would have been 13 when that came on. I always thought it looked weird. I did give it a chance, and it was fine. It's fine. I have no quarrels with it. Once I'm done with the 80s show and the 03 show, both of which I'm watching slowly right now, I'll go watch it. The 03 show, dude, unreal. When you talk about the Turtles, it comes into my mind. If I'm reading a Turtles comic, which I have a lot of, I'm reading them in those voices. Okay.
Yeah.
I love them.
Isn't that fun? That's fun.
It's fun. It's kind of fun, isn't it? Right? Like everybody probably reads them in different voices.
Yeah.
Isn't that interesting?
Which is crazy to think. Yeah.
There is one that's based off the 80s TV show that I obviously, like, in my mind, I hear the 80s. It's literally, like, supposed to be canon to the 80s TV show, this comic series is. So I'm like, okay. But other than that, I'm reading them in the 03 voices because those voices fit the personalities great. One thing, I literally texted my parents this, and I mean this wholeheartedly. I didn't grow up the most privileged kid. I wasn't, like, dirt poor or anything like that. Like, I always had food on the table, okay? But I wasn't the most privileged kid in the world at the same time, okay? You would not know it. You would not know it. by the amount of Ninja Turtles toys I had. Dude, I started a huge Ninja Turtles kick last year that is still ongoing. I just bought another $150 set of figures up there that look really cool. I love them. It's fun. I'm still super into it. I'm keeping up with multiple comic series right now. It's a blast. It's like genuinely like so much fun, right? And it's harmless fun, right? And as a result, I'm like, I want to start collecting some of the toys again. I have not went back, technically speaking, and bought any of the old toys. But I did research for them. I didn't realize I had like every single figure from like the first 6 waves of Ninja Turtles toys. And every vehicle and everything. And I'm like,
that had to be hundreds put together, right?
I unprovoked one night out of the blue, texted my dad and was just like, dude, I'm going through looking at old stuff right now. And I'm like, I had every one of these toys. And I know, dude, we weren't living at a house. We were living with my grandparents at one time, so we didn't have a house, dude. And I got the Ninja Turtles sewer layer playset for my birthday, dude. And I have so many great memories of that still. That had to have been like a $60, $70 playset back then, dude.
That's good parenting.
On top of the fact that I had everything else back then, right?
That's good parents.
I was like, I know this is so random, and you probably don't even remember. And he said he really doesn't remember most of it for what it's worth. But I'm like, just wanted to say thanks. I'm appreciative of it 20 years later. I really am.
That's awesome. Yeah.
I love that show. I still love that show. I'm turning it on as I go to bed a lot of nights just because it's like, whatever, just something to play. And my wife is somewhat into it. Like, she's fine with it. So I'm like, cool. Team NTO3, the best Ninja Turtles.
You heard it here first.
Yes.
I love it. I personally didn't watch a whole lot of that one, but I don't have anything bad to say about TMNT ever. I really don't.
Yeah. They're fun.
So, I got nothing. I like the pick, bud. I think it's great.
Cool. Well, I love your list too so far. What's next?
I think you're really going to like after this one. There's a reason I didn't talk a lot about this earlier.
Okay.
Buddy, you obviously know more about it than I do, but it is in my top 5. I'm taking Power Rangers, bud.
What?
I
thought you weren't.
I love Power Rangers.
I'm sorry.
I did not go on and watch it, obviously, to the extent that you did. I couldn't name you all the different seasons or whatever.
Yeah.
I remember watching the movie, and it was so good. I think what drew me to it was, I can't remember when I started watching it. I have to imagine I watched Sam Raimi's Spider-Man first, because it came out in 2002. So I have to imagine I watched that before I watched really a lot of Power Rangers. But obviously, at that point in our lives, there wasn't a lot of like superhero quote unquote stuff. There really wasn't.
No,
not
like
compared to today.
X-Men and Spider-Man.
That's pretty much
X-Men and Spider-Man kind of carried that into the new wave that we're in now.
Right. I think that's it. I think that's the movie I watched.
It's either that one or this one, and I'm curious if it's this one because I've seen both. It's either this one or this one. Do you remember either of these movies?
See, I thought in the movie it was all Dino based.
Okay, it probably would have been that because they get in the Power Rangers movie they each get new Zords assigned to them. So and I think it's funny because like the Black Ranger gets a toad, and it's like, huh? He goes from a mastodon, which is like by far the least cool of like, Tyrannosaurus, Triceratops, Pterodactyl, Mastodon. Gee! And then what is his next thing? A freaking frog.
That is the one I watched then, because I remember the, Tyrannosaurus. I remember that stuff.
Okay, yeah. Dude, that was cool.
I also, so first off, what I was saying was, I think it's, for that age, it was either that or Spider-Man that I was watching for superheroes. I love the suits. I thought the suits were so cool.
Suits are the best.
To this day, I think the suits are cool. I promise you, this year for Halloween at work, I'm going to get a Green Ranger suit, and I'm going to go to work as the Green Ranger.
You know how expensive they are?
Dude, I'm going to get the little, synthesizer.
I've thought, okay, this is so funny. This is, deep nerdum. Like I said, I got into it again in high school, so I'm thinking about it completely differently than a kid is, right? Mm-hmm. There are people who buy full-fledged suits and stuff and go to conventions and stuff. I would totally get one. I'm like, which one would I get? Is that the one you would get? You would get the Green Ranger?
I get Green Ranger all day.
He's my favorite. The Green Ranger is my favorite, right? We actually got into a small not argument. You were dibs on the Green Ranger when it comes to Fortnite because that was rumored to come, and I was like, yeah, right, bro. Dream on.
That was like over a year ago at this point. When are they coming?
Still hasn't happened.
When are they going?
There was like a
They need to do
Ryu
it.
from Street Fighter crossover with Power Rangers, which I didn't know about. There's like Power Rangers comics and stuff. It's so random. But made by the same people that make the Turtles ones right now. But apparently like Ryu ended up having a crossover with one of them, like morphs and everything. And that one specifically was rumored to be coming to Fortnite. I was like, oh, okay. Like, I guess if it makes like whatever. But as a result, they're like, they'll probably do other Power Rangers too. I'm like, cool, we'll get Mighty Morphin then, right? I decided, because I tried to go kind of obscure with it. I was like, I don't want to go like straight up, Red or Green Ranger, right? I said if I was to ever buy a suit, which I feel secure enough to say, because you said you're going to do it for Halloween.
Promise on.
I would have got this Ranger.
That's dope. I'll put this
Power
in
Rangers Zeo, the successor to Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, often forgot about. It's the same guys as the end of Mighty Morphin. Like, Tommy's the Red Ranger. The Green Ranger is the Red Ranger in Zeo. So.
Okay. I like that suit. That's nice.
Yeah. Rest in peace, Jason, David Frank. Big ups.
R.I.P. I think, like you mentioned, like we said earlier, like it's so corny, and it is so corny if you go back and watch. But dude, not only that, but obviously the Zords, form the Megazord. I say that all the time. Form the Megazord. Just for
And they come
reason.
flying down this desolate stretch of nothingness.
Yeah,
like, where are they coming
what is
from?
happening?
Where are they storing these?
Yeah.
The government doesn't know about these? Like,
What is happening? That, obviously, if you know anything about Godzilla, I love the Megazord.
I was gonna say.
The acting didn't bug me because at that age I was also watching Godzilla stuff and it's the exact same cheesy over dramatic acting, so I thought it was cool.
Didn't
It was-
Saban
so it was-
do some of the work for Godzilla?
That'd be a good question.
I think at some point they might have. If nothing else, it was heavily, obviously inspired by it. So
I think quite literally as early as late as last year, meaning like I think that's the earliest it happened. I think there was like a Power Rangers v Godzilla like comic.
I told you about it.
I think. Yeah.
Yeah.
So like, I just for some reason those two kind of go together for me. I know it kind of doesn't make sense, but it kind of does at the same time.
No, for sure. They just
But
finished
I
up their
love Power
second
Rangers.
comic arc together.
I love Power Rangers. I love the
I love
colors.
it's in your top 5.
Love the pull on the Megazord. I love the action of it.
Zordon.
I think it's fantastic, and I fully contribute it and Sam Raimi Spider-Man and it as to why I fell in love with like superhero action stuff
And
at that
it's
age.
so great, dude. I had all the figures with that too, of course, right? I was getting spoiled, I
Yeah.
guess. One more thing I'll say that you and I discussed on a few occasions. I don't know if you remember. In high school, the very first thing I ever purchased on an iTunes account was do as my text tone.
Kim Possible.
And it would go off, and people would say exactly that. Oh my God, Kim Possible! No. What did I say at one time on this podcast? I was like, no, but you can go kill yourself or something like that.
Yeah.
Right? Or you can go die. I said, you can go die.
You can go die.
No.
And I said I was one of them that like I have to remember. Okay, it's do for Kim Possible. It's just
so
like 3 or 4
similar.
notes.
It
Whatever
is weird. 2 less beeps for Kim Possible.
Yeah.
That is it. Big ups, bro. Nice pull. Gotta love it.
Big ups. What is your final pick?
I have 2 more picks. You have one more.
Oh, wait,
pick.
you do because I went first. 'cause
Yeah,
I said
we're going
first.
over on
That's
time.
right.
Sorry about it. I'll try to be quick, especially if this isn't on your list. I'm shocked that it's not. But for me, it came into my life at a point where it's easily on my top 5. And Practical Jokers is on my top 5.
I thought
Jokers
about
is the
putting it
top
on
5
there.
most influential show for me. It is.
I think it's fantastic.
I think they're the funniest people in the world. Their jokes are rent free in my head. Joe Gatto just put a new comedy special on YouTube. I can't wait to watch it.
Yep, I want you to
I
go.
love all of them. Have you seen it yet?
No, but I want to watch it. Yeah.
Okay. We'll text about it. I'll tell you what I think about it when you watch it. You tell me. I love the Impractical Jokers. I will always love the Impractical Jokers. I just had something sad pop into my head again, and I don't mean to do that twice in one episode. This is going to sound very privileged and very first world, but you have to understand, I have not had any parents or grandparents or aunt or uncles or siblings or cousins or anyone pass away in my family yet. Thank God, okay? The hardest death I've ever had to experience was the very sudden death of my one and only idol, Kobe Bryant. It was out of nowhere. It wrecked me for 4 straight days. I called off work. My manager thought I was suicidal because I said I'm calling off because I just mentally am not good to come in, but I was embarrassed to because Kobe died, right? it sounds bad to say. I was like, mentally, I'm not good to come in. I wasn't. I like didn't talk for the rest of the day. Not even to my now wife. I didn't talk.
Isn't that crazy? It's crazy that these
It's the
sports
worst.
people who, I'm sorry, but they have no idea we exist can like play a role.
I know they don't.
It's insane to me.
And I've been pretty good about not putting people that don't know I exist into a high esteem. But dude, I was like 3 years old and loved Kobe Bryant. It is what it is, right?
Right.
There's two people that to me are sports immortals in terms of the role they've had in my life. It's Kobe Bryant and Joey Votto. Those are the two. Don't talk about them. I'll fight you about them. I will fight over them. Don't mess with them, okay? I understand Kobe wasn't flawless. Okay. I understand Joey Votto didn't do a lot of winning. Okay. They're untouchable to me. Kobe Bryant died. I didn't want to eat. I couldn't talk to people. I didn't want to do anything. And I think I have to try to ignore the fact that he's not with us anymore because it still just makes no sense.
It's crazy.
Bill Russell just died. Like, Dr. J is still here. At the time of Kobe's death, the only dead NBA legends were George Mikan, who you've never heard of because he played in the 50s. Wilt Chamberlain probably had AIDS and didn't know it, if I'm being honest. Rest his soul. He's the guy that claims to have slept with over 10,000 women. Scott. Okay? Am I lying in saying that's probably what he had then? He just got sick and died. He probably had AIDS.
He also dunked from the free throw line, bro.
He did not.
If he scientifically proved wrong.
Claimed to sleep with over 10,000
Impossible.
women. Yeah. It is impossible. George Mikan, Wilt Chamberlain, and Kobe were the only dead legends at the time of his death in the NBA.
That's crazy.
All the old heads are still around, except for like Bill Russell just passed away. Like all the old heads around. So what?
How old's Larry Bird right now?
Oh, he played in the 80s, so he's not as old as you probably think. He's in his
not
60s
that
though.
old.
No.
Yeah.
But it's like, that's it. Those are the only dead legends. It's like, this makes no sense. We were supposed to watch him. I don't need to get into it. This has to do with Impractical Jokers.
I was going to say, what?
About 2.5 to 3 days after Kobe Bryant passed away, I randomly thought I would love to watch some Impractical Jokers right now. And for like a week straight, the only show I watched was Impractical Jokers. And the reason why is because it is so funny. I could not help but just laugh and laugh and laugh and laugh and have to pause the show at how hard I'm laughing so I don't miss another joke sometimes. Yep. It's that good, dude. It's that good. And it's jokes I've heard. Talk about influence. How many jokes can you hear for the 1,000th time and still die at, dude? Right? Show of hands. What is your favorite color?
So stupid.
I love it. And that's not even my favorite one. It's just one that I always reference. Impractical Jokers. It's on my top 5. Sorry for the sob stories. I promise this wasn't intentional. But talking about influence. I got banned from watching it because of how hard I was laughing at once other people in my house were asleep. You can't watch it when anyone's asleep. You're laughing too hard. Real story. Love those guys.
That's great. I promise I did think for a moment about throwing it in there.
I have one more, and if it's not on your list, I might come through this camera and punch you in the face.
There's no way my last pick
How
is
did this
on
not
list.
make your list?
Not.
Go.
You want me to?
Go. Yes.
Give me The Griffins. Give me Family Guy. That is my number one adult comedy. I think Rick and Morty is a immediate, like, butt-to-butt close second. But Family Guy was the first, like, adult show that I watched growing up. I remember literally sneaking to watch it at first. I wasn't supposed to be watching it, but I would sneak and watch it. You know, dude, the best thing, remember on old TV remotes, the previous channel button?
Yep. Yes.
The previous channel button?
I totally
Fantastic.
did the same thing.
You hear somebody coming, oh, I'm just watching Disney Channel.
You would set whatever channel you wanted to be last. You go to that channel, then type it in, and then so bad, dude.
Oh, watching Nick at Night. I'm watching Everybody Loves Raymond. I'm not watching, MTV or Adult Swim or.
This is a story my parents don't know to this day. I'm sorry to cut you off in the middle of yours, but I have to tell this story.
No, I'm so excited already.
My parents still don't know this story to this day. I took a liking to MTV and MTV2 in like 6th grade, okay?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And there were shows on there 6th graders shouldn't be watching. Let's just call it what it is. Mm-hmm. Jersey Shore, Guy Code. I'm definitely missing other ones where it's like, you should not be watching this at that age.
Even 1,000 Ways to Die. Do you remember 1,000 Ways to Die?
Yeah, that's another one. Silent Library.
Yeah,
I was watching it for a show that I thought, I'll tell my parents about this show, this cool new show I like. It's really fun. And it was fine. It was fine. My parents were like, no, you're not watching MTV. Rob Dyrdek's Fantasy Factory. Did you ever watch it?
Yes.
I loved that show. Harmless.
It was great.
Harmless show. It was harmless.
Compared to some others we mentioned just now.
My parents are like, what channel is that on? MTV2. And then they're like, I remember I was in the car on the way to church having this conversation. And they're like, you're watching MTV? And then that day, they figured out how to put a passcode on my TV. Okay?
Yeah.
I figured out on pure accident.
You figured out the passcode?
Accident. Not the code. Still to this day don't know what that code to unlock the channel was.
Okay.
There was a bug with the box to where if the channel above or below it was unlocked, you could go up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down. And eventually, and then, like, I guess what happened was I was going to, like, the channel above it. Like, CMT would play, like, Home Improvement or Reba and stuff like that. I'm like, I like those. That was the channel above MTV2. Okay?
Okay.
So I'd be clicking. I know how many clicks it is. It's 11 clicks away. Right? Got to CMT one time. MTV2's on my screen. I'm like, what? Got to experimenting with it. You basically were getting so far ahead of it to where the box thought you were on one channel and you were on another one.
Oh, you broke the box.
Yeah, dude.
Joe broke the box.
Anything I wanted from that point on. My parents still to this day don't know this story. I was doing that.
That's fantastic.
For that exact reason. So I'm glad that's a shared experience of, like, not only did I have the last button trick, I figured out how to get around the freaking channels without my parents knowing. And I still don't know the code.
For sure. That's crazy.
Yeah, dude.
What's the code? Tell them. I mean,
Tell me the code, Dad.
This, right? Yeah. What's the code?
Yeah.
Yeah. The previous channel, fantastic.
Shout out to that button, bro.
Yep.
Sunlink.
You're connected. Family Guy was the first, like, adult show that I watched. I fully understand if it's not for everybody. I get it. I'm not gonna, like, it's the best show ever. I'm not gonna do that. I think it's great. I appreciate, like you said about Rick and Morty, Family Guy does not care. They will make fun of every single person, place, or thing. Every single thing.
Yep.
And I think it's fantastic. I view it as probably my favorite adult comedy show. And when I started watching it and stuff, it's like a core thing for me.
It's a great pull, dude. I love it. Do you want me to go on to mine?
I do. I want to see what you have that
your list
apparently
is great.
was not.
Your list is great. I love your list. And obviously, it's your list. It's true to you.
Right.
I'm surprised knowing you that this is not on your list, bro.
It's probably on my list of what I would have thrown in.
SpongeBob SquarePants isn't in your top 5 most influential TV shows ever? We could quote like whole episodes, Scott. Both of us can. We can go back and forth, and I'll say one line. You probably know the next line, and then I know the next, and you could probably answer on some of these episodes, the most important ones that we've watched.
Right.
It's not in your top 5? I'm shocked. I am shocked. That's all I'm saying is that I'm shocked. It's your list. You know. I'm not saying you have a bad list. I love your list. I'm just shocked to my core. And Practical Jokers, I was like, okay. You know, we watched it when we were older and stuff. SpongeBob? How much of our comedic personality is rooted in SpongeBob?
It's great.
I'm watching episodes. I'm watching it as I go to bed, too, by the way. If I'm not paying attention to the story of Team NTO3, I'm turning on SpongeBob right now. I bought the ad-free Paramount Plus because that app is miserable.
I was going to ask, what is it on? Okay,
Paramount Plus. Get the ad-free. Don't even mess around. The app is terrible on PlayStation and Roku. It's busted. It doesn't work. And you cannot fast forward at all without getting an ad. And it's like 2 minutes of ads. It's busted. It's screwed. If you rewind, if you get past an ad point and you rewind 10 seconds, you're getting 2 minutes of ads again.
That's how Hulu was. And Hulu is, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Busted. SpongeBob, bro. Come on. Top 5 most influential for me? Absolutely it is. The most quotable show of our lifetime.
Agreed.
Hundreds of quotes that people our age get. Simple stuff, too. Just the way things were written. Hi, how are you? Say that inflection, you know what I'm saying, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. What's the next line?
Wonderful weather we're having.
See, it's so good.
Okay, see you around.
I just watched the episode where Squidward eats all the Krabby Patties. I'll tell Kat, and I'll be laying there with a pillow over my face, rolled over to the side, not watching, and we'll be going to bed, and I'll impulsively finish the lines for them half the time, right? And we're like, dang, I didn't realize how much memory like in my head is taken up by this crap.
Yeah.
But it's like, I can't believe how much of that show I know, how much of it I love. It was better for longer than you think.
Right.
It was. It's like season 7. And I'm like, this is when I'm kind of on the episodes. But there's like 100 some episodes before that.
Mm-hmm.
So many great episodes. I don't have a great quote to throw out there. The most recent ones I've watched and enjoyed are the mystery episode, Mystery of the Seahorse. Yep. We watched Krabby on Mondays, right? The less you know, Eugene.
The better. It's great.
And that's later, dude. That's after like the prime.
Yeah.
Still so good. So, shout out Steven Hillenberg, man. Big ups. You're getting all the big ups today. So...
That is, I agree. I especially agree with it being one of the most quotable shows of all time. I think what a chunk of memes have come straight from that show.
It's got to be the most meme show ever, right? Has to be. Objectively. Objectively the most meme show ever.
I did sincerely watch, I promise you, it was at most like 5 weeks ago. I watched a guy on YouTube, he ranked, because apparently whenever the blankety blank episode of SpongeBob came out, they did a thing where kids could go on and vote on the top 100 SpongeBob episodes.
Yes. Oh my God. I vividly remember this.
And he was like, that sucks. And it does. Dude, he went through that list. Some of the episodes
was so bad.
I'm like, this is terrible.
Pizza Delivery got 29.
Stop.
29.
Stop.
I remember now, to this day that's how mad I was.
Like, I think Band Geeks was maybe number 1. And I'm like, okay.
I think it was number 1. I'm like, yep, okay, cool.
You cooked there. But yeah, he went through and gave his personal top 100, and it's like a 90-minute YouTube video, and I sat down and watched the whole thing, and he said things. First off, he said this, dude, and I was trying to remember as he went because he had Band Geeks as number 2 in his personal thing.
His own,
and I'm like, oh God, like what does he have as number 1 then? I'm trying to think of like
Band Geeks was not number 1 on this list.
Oh no. Oh, no, that's right. It was like something like more recent. It was like a recent episode.
Karate Island.
Yeah, that's insane, dude.
Number 2 is Wishing You Well.
Nope. Get out.
You throw all your dreams down the well. Dungeons and Dragons? Which one is that? What is Dungeons and Dragons? That's number 3, dude. Krusty Towers is number 4. This is the worst list ever.
It's terrible. It's absolutely terrible.
Oh. Is that Squidly? Yes. Squidly.
Hark,
the princess, she screams from the tower.
Oh,
the sound
okay.
Of her shriek,
that's good.
This is her final hour.
That's good. I like that episode.
Then I told her that joke and the king had a stroke.
Bro had Band Geeks as number 2. He had number 1 as, I can't remember the name of the episode. It might literally be Bubble Bass. But it's where Bubble Bass shows up. Dude, okay, I had the same look.
Still
he goes
no
on to explain
pickles!
He goes on to explain it. I'm like, okay. Because he gave episodes as like a category of like, okay, this is just a stupid episode. This is a funny episode. This episode teaches you a lesson. This episode is about character growth or whatever. And I do think that episode, SpongeBob literally breaks.
He does.
Because he thinks he forgot how to make a Krabby Patty. He literally goes insane.
Bum patty, mustard, shoe!
Mr. Krabs, hello. Do you how do?
Do you how do?
He's got underwear like on his head.
Do you how do?
So like as far as like finding yourself or like you think you're so set in something and then you're not perfect. But then I come to find out all along he was. It was all like fake. It was all in his head the whole time. It is a great episode. Yeah, it's a great episode. So all that to say, SpongeBob is fantastic. I have no hate at all for it being in your top 5. I think it's absolutely fantastic.
Was it close to your top 5? Did you think about it?
I did think about it. I think honestly for me personally, that would probably, if we were specifically doing a list of like top blank childhood TV shows, I promise it's cracking it. I promise it's in the top half of it.
Okay.
So,
you want to know how sick in the head I am, Scott? Sick in the head. There's got to be a mental illness.
Do you how do?
What did I say just now? I said Pizza Delivery was like 29.
29?
This is from 2006. Haven't read about it. Haven't looked it up. Haven't thought about it. Haven't seen this YouTube video. I want to now that you've mentioned it. I would love to. It's 29. I remember that because that was my favorite episode. And I remember that it got 29th. I was like, my favorite got 29th? God, okay.
It was this guy. Maybe you've heard of him because I feel like you watch like random YouTube videos more than I would.
Okay.
Let me see if I can find it real quick.
Excited.
It was like Rock was his name.
It's not Summoning Salt?
No, I love Summoning Salt. I love Summoning Salt.
It's unbelievable. I will say while you're looking this up real quick, an episode I watched literally last night is better than people think. It's probably thrown in your mind with the gimmick episodes, and it is a gimmick episode per se. The actual episode stands on its own and has a ton of merit. SpongeBob BC. Unbelievable episode.
Hilarious.
Tabagadoo. They don't speak English, dude. They don't freaking speak English.
Wasn't that the When Worlds Collide song? Was that
When
that
Worlds
episode?
Collide, you'll laugh so hard, you swear you'll die when worlds collide. Yeah, it's so good. I'm from the future, and I'm from the past, but that don't mean that this friendship wasn't built to last. That's so good.
I'm so glad you remember.
You can run,
but you can't hide.
But you can't hide. I love that. I love it so much.
I found the video. So first off, yes, I remember now seeing it. It is a 90-minute video, like I said. It's 142 episodes he ranks.
Okay, because at the time, this is 143 we're at the time. I wonder why he doesn't rank 1. It says at the time, 43 didn't make it. Procrastination was 100. Okay, whatever. It just says 43 were out at the time that didn't make it. So whatever.
And he goes through and ranks all. He calls them OG SpongeBob, from worst to best. And he goes through and he gives great reasons, dude. He gives fantastic reasons. 1v1 Rock. Never heard of him until I watched this video.
No, I will watch this video. I will if you can send me a link, I will go out of my way to find this video and turn it on at some point.
I think it's good.
We went way over.
I liked it.
If you made it this far, we love you. Thank you. Please check and make sure you're subscribed to the channel. Please. We greatly appreciate it.
Please.
Anything else from you, sir?
Peace, baby. Bring on hockey season. That's all I got to look forward
Great
to.
top
please,
five. Hey.
Please hear me. Florida Panthers, if you can hear
Joe
me.
Burrow, if you can hear me, please save me. Please win the next 4 games. Nah. Shout out and hooday to the soon-to-be 1-2 Cincinnati Bengals.
We better be.